Hi, welcome back. In this episode, I will share with you the very foundation of my philosophy in life and the very reason that I started Global Heart Leaders. And that is because I really, really believe in people, and we are all wired the same way. We need to be seen, to be heard, to be part, to really feel part of a community, a family, or a friendship circle, or the local soccer team. We are social creatures, and so much has happened over the years. With tech has really leapfrogged. So right now, you can sit alone in your apartment, you can order food to your door, you can work remotely. Hence, in theory, you don't really need that support system around you that we needed hundreds of thousands of years ago when we were, cavemen running from bears and and stuff, right? Then the community was really, really important. But the fact of the matter is that we are still human and we are still wired in exactly the same way. We really need to feel a sense of belonging. And in order for us to flourish and develop really resilient minds and being very, very confident in ourselves, we need positive feedback, and we need a trusting and loving environment. The way I translate this is to I think that there's a little happy golden retriever puppy living inside of us, just waiting to hop out. It just needs the right people, conditions, environments, and support to nurture it and to make it visible. That said, I don't think anyone wakes up in the morning and think, hey, today I'm going to make life miserable for everyone I meet. No, I think if you are frustrated, angry, and it's because something is off in your life. Are you really being heard in your relationship? Do you genuinely feel that you connect with the company values of the company that you actually work for? Or even, do you feel excluded from society as a whole? I mean, that sense of alienation and loneliness is really, really damaging for both you and for the society around you, if it would really escalate. So, and my philosophy is then is that you can use this both personally and professionally, because if you share this view of mine, there are so many hacks into really motivating and growing your team, but also from a personal perspective. Maybe you have been grumpy and frustrated, in the past, and or maybe today. Why am I grumpy today? It's like, oh, yeah, there are some issues at work, and I have some problems with my family, and it all stems down to that you maybe feel misunderstood. You haven't gotten that last promotion that you think you deserved, and no one has really communicated that with you. I mean, it's all these frustrations that builds up because we don't communicate, we don't feel respected, and so it's. I mean, it's all linked. And one way of also protecting yourself from other people that are frustrating in a frustrating state is that also to understand this dynamic, because sometimes we meet someone and they are so aggressive or passive aggressive, and they can really, really pull you down. That doesn't happen to me anymore, because immediately mentally I take a step back and I was like, ooh, someone had a rough morning, you know and it doesn't affect you. Or depending on the relationship you have with a person, if things are really off kilter, you can actually also lean in and ask, are you okay? Because maybe the person doesn't have anyone to talk to, right? So it's one way of knowing yourself, realizing when yourself are frustrated, what does it really mean, and where does it really come from? And also a way to distance yourself from being dragged down, with bad energy around, with people around you that is clearly having issues that not necessarily have anything to do with you. So that is like a little survival hack on a personal note. But let's dive into the benefits of having this golden retriever mindset at work. So, the way I see it, a grumpy employee could actually be a diamond in the rough. Okay, if they have family issues and issues in their private life, obviously that has, something that has they have to resolve. But if it's linked to the workplace, it could be that they're frustrated that because they haven't been heard, or they have had the solution to a problem for so long, but they've been trying to get their point across, and no one is listening. So at the end of the day, they're rather just like, okay, I'm just going to sit here then and wait for them to screw up, and then, see what happens, And it's all about not seeing each other, not communicating openly, right? So instead of just, looking at a grumpy colleague and just think, oh, here he comes again, or here she comes again, just try to view it from a different standpoints, like, what's really going on here, right? And can I be of assistance? Especially if you are a manager, you actually need to address this with your team member to see, if there's any way you could be of assistance, because as we know, some really grumpy people can really drag down the positive energy of the entire team. So it's really crucial that you as a manager dare to talk about this and dare to address it. But let's go back to some of the key issues in my previous video when I said that we start with giving clear expectations, like pitching the work to the team member, explaining what needs to be done and why and how it fits into the whole process. Then you get a buy-in on that, right? And then the journey starts. And if you support your team member in that process, they will feel more safe and confident that they can actually do this, even though sometimes they will doubt themselves, right? Like I mentioned in my previous video about putting too much pressure on person that because you see the potential in them, but if they don't see the potential in themselves, it's going to create stress. So the best way is to work then with feedback and iteration to get us on the right track, but also when there's challenges along the way, that you really are there to support your team members. Because if you support them, then that they feel that you really believe in them and that you're there for them, and that alone can just reduce stress and increase motivation and grit to actually get this done. So it's actually very, very important the way you are there and supporting your team. But also the fact that holding someone accountable, delegating a certain task, that to me is the ultimate receipt that I believe in someone. So when someone is delegating or giving me the responsibility for a bigger project or a bigger area, that's when I really feel, wow, she my manager really trusts me with this task. And also for you as a manager to also pitch it like that to your team, so they don't feel, oh, here comes another thing I have to solve on top of the 265 other issues I'm dealing with, and I'm only getting paid X for the 40-hour work week. It's like, chill. Right? So it's all about explaining that you believe in them, and to put that trust in them, and that you work together. And key to me is that we need to have fun in the process. We spend so much time at work, so we need to be aligned, and we need to have fun, and we need to celebrate our victories. And it's so interesting when I posted on LinkedIn that I had started this YouTube channel, and the focus would be like heart-centered leadership and growing your companies by empowering your teams. I got so many nice feedback and comments, and I especially remember one of them, which is a good friend of mine down in Namibia, and she actually said, "Oh, this is amazing! Finally, a community that I can resonate with," because she experienced that so many bosses and people around her thought that being a compassionate leader was like showing a sign of weakness, when it's the actual opposite. It's actually the strength to let other people shine, the strength to not only do your job, but also the job of lifting other people up. And she said she is 10 times the professional she is today because someone lifted her up and believed in her back in the day. And that is just so beautiful, because that just sums it up. That is exactly what I'm talking about here. So thank you, Matilda. When I address founders and talking about this golden retriever mindset, um, I then do it in relation to the company cultures that they are creating for themselves and their companies, right? Creating an inspirational company culture that people really want to belong to, that they really identify with. I mean, that can strengthen the bond between you as a founder, the company, and your team. But it's also important to then, what types of people, what types of mindsets and skills do you want to attract? So it's also about being a bit mindful on the culture that you're building so that you're attracting the right people. And having a solid company culture, that can also be used as a blueprint for, not only the recruitment process, but also for people in the organization, because then they know these are the behaviors and these are the results needed for me to enhance my career in this company, for me to climb that corporate ladder. So, using the golden retriever mindset and knowing how to motivate and engage your staff, and then build that into the corporate culture with the values and the goals you have for your business is it's perfect, and that's why some people even call their companies, that they're it's more like a tribe like community, because when we truly feel that we belong to something, I work for company X, well, not X, company XYZ then, a company. I work for this company, and my values are so aligned. I'm so proud to be part of this, and my colleagues feels almost like family because we are so aligned. We're on the same track, and we respect each other. We give feedback to each other. We grow as individuals, as teams, as groups, and as a company as a whole. I mean, wow, wouldn't you want to be in an environment like that where you actually wake up Monday morning and just like, yes, finally, the weekend is over, right? So, I'm just talking about human behavior right now. I'm just talking about how we're wired, and I mean, why wouldn't we create the best possible environments for growth, and for us to be seen, heard, and respected, and really feel part of something. To me, it's just so simple. All right. So the total opposite, just to wind it up, the total opposite of what I'm actually saying is people and managers talking about staff as like a resource. It's not a person and an individual behind a name tag or a business card. All they see is headcount, and you can identify them by a few comments that often flies around. It's like, oh, no one can be trusted around here. I have to monitor my staff like all the time, or they steal, or they snooze, or they go on a lunch break that's 5 minutes longer than what's allowed. And I mean, to me, then I'm like, ooh, then it's one of three things. Number one, what kind of people did you hire? Number two, uh, why can't you manage them better? What's going on? And number three, ah, you're a bit of a control freak and maybe a bit scared to lift other people up. So it's easier for you to to put them down and over manage them, because then you feel a bit superior, and then you feel that you are needed, like I addressed in my previous video, like, not exactly the way to grow. Not That is not having that abundant mindset that I keep talking about. But another interesting aspect is when people always say, "Oh, it's deadline tomorrow," but my team, I always have to fact check at the end. I always have to make the final touches, over and over. Yeah, of course you are. Because if you don't give them feedback on how to sharpen their skills to get to the end game without you, monitoring and doing the final touches, of course they're not going to do their best, because they know, should I put 10 hours into this or should I put 8? because the ending is going to be the same, because regardless of what I do, my manager will always change it anyway. I mean, can you imagine the motivational aspects of walking that extra mile, right? So it's all about your mindset as well. Why can't you just train them then, so that they can deliver the end result for you just to take a quick look and do thumbs up? What is it that makes them unable to walk that extra kilometer even to make that happen? Do they need training, or do they actually need more feedback from you? Just food for thought. But then again, speaking to startup founders, it's always scary in the beginning. You're the founder, everything is in your head, and then your team grows. So it's always a bit challenging sometimes to let go and to build that level of trust. But if you want to grow your business beyond you and maybe 2 and 3 people, if you want to grow it into the thousands, you really need to start building that trust. Yeah. And but one comment that is a bit more subtle that I actually has thought a lot about lately is that you work for a company and then you have a really fantastic colleague, but the person wants to pursue something else in their life, so they resign and go somewhere else, and everyone's like, "No, Eric left. He was so amazing." And then your manager says, "Yeah, but no one is irreplaceable." Uh, no, thank God. Can you imagine if someone left the company and then no one in the entire on the entire planet could ever solve the issues that that person could do? I mean, that would be a complete nightmare. Of course, no one is irreplaceable in that sense. But why would you even say that comment, What it actually signals is that, oh shit, someone left and now you need to be like cool about it, rather than saying, just admitting, oh, yeah, losing Eric was a tough one, but yeah, now we just have to work closer together and just see, how we can strengthen the team so that we can keep the momentum. So it's just small, small comments like that, but yeah, why? Just a little thought that popped into my head. So no, if you want your team to perform and feel good and reach their top potential, then you need to start see them as the rock stars that they are. You need to support them. You need to respect them, and and dare to let them shine. So be the manager, be the leader that really nurtures the inner golden retriever that lies within all the people in your team and all the people around you in your community. I think that that will really make this world a better place. So, thank you for listening.